Okay, good morning, everyone. We're here for the regular council meeting of September 3rd. Hope everyone had a great long weekend. We're going to jump right into it with introductions and then to the meeting we have with us, Councillor Shane Pelletier,
Good morning.
Councillor Joel Lemoine,
Bon matin tout le monde.
Councillor Jason Bodnerchuk.
Good morning.
Absent is Councillor Janine Belanger, and in the office we have our CEO Shane Ray.
Right.
And our assistant CEO somewhere hiding there, Dominic Lemoine. And myself, Chris Ewan. So without further ado, item number 1, meeting called to order. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second. Councillor Lemoine, thank you. Questions before we open the meeting? None. I will call for the question. All those in favor? That is opened at 8:01 a.m. Thank you. Item number 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bodnerchuk, second. Councillor Lemoine, thank you. Council's good with going to delegations and then everything else as is. Other than that, no changes.
Yep.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That is carried. We will jump into our meeting with Staff Sergeant Ron Poirier. Go ahead, Staff Sergeant.
Hey, good morning. Before we get into APP and stats, just to mention, I met with CAO Ray last week in regards to the CSO project that you have underway. From our side, this has full support. We've had a pretty good relationship with RM of Hanover CSO. We see there's definite benefits and also some opportunity to engage together on a couple of common aspects of law enforcement, let's say. So hopefully that'll work out for the RM. We've noticed the last little bit some targeting of crime at the Esso. And by that, I mean, there's a group that seems to be coming in and basically shoplifting and walking out of the store. And we've seen this elsewhere in the area as well. And one of the things we're sort of talking about in-house is how do we help some of these businesses with anti-theft protocols or enhanced security instead of just being a victim of someone walking in and walking out without paying. The Esso one's a little bit harder for us because of its proximity to Highway 75 and to some of the outlying communities. It's not just locals coming in to do it. But I just thought I'd raise it to your attention in case there's a business committee or anything where they discuss these types of aspects. The Esso we've seen come back to us as someone from either gas and dash or walking in and stealing off the shelves and walking out. So something to be aware of, that it seems to be repetitive there. Q1 for APP, just so you know our priorities for this year. One of them would be our police visibility and communication. And basically we're trying to focus on schools and with our municipal councils. So each of our schools in our area has an assigned liaison, and we have a reporting system in-house that we haven't had in the past of how to make sure that we're communicating with the schools on a regular basis, making sure we're not going to be taken sort of by surprise if something occurs there. The other one is road safety, and we're focusing on a check stop program, mostly in impaired sort of alcohol-related offenses. And our last one would be a crime reduction. And basically we're targeting and focusing on high-risk offenders in a curfew check program. We have a list of who in the area is on conditions, and we're taking a proactive approach and making sure they're abiding by their conditions. If not, we're remanding, get them out of the community, and the idea that that's going to reduce crime. So that's our 3 priorities. These are similar to last year, just our focus is a little bit different. And every one of my councils came back with pretty much these 3 as our top priorities. So we're going to focus on that, and I'll be able to give you some stats as we get at the end of Q2 and into Q3. Our Q1 reporting for statistics, just a couple of highlights that came to the forefront for me. The obvious one was the substantial drop in traffic enforcement, mostly in the RM. And I spoke about this earlier, that with transfers and stuff, we have a sort of different skill sets. One thing I didn't speak about was how our traffic services kind of behind the scenes supports our efforts that you may not know about. And I think time has come to kind of share what they've been doing for us. So we did have a traffic services member stationed at St. Pierre for the last year or so. He worked from here. He lives out of town, and this was closer than driving to East St. Paul. So we allowed them to be housed in St. Pierre. Good for us, good for the community. That person's now been transferred to the Steinbach office. So he works out of Steinbach, but he covers the same area. So we've made sure that he recognizes St. Pierre as still part of his daily routine. So I don't think we'll see a change in how he's affecting traffic enforcement in the area, just he's not housed at St. Pierre anymore. So I look at the substantial drop in traffic. And so just to give you an idea of what they're doing, when I look at statistics that show traffic enforcement, and these are tickets, where for the area we had 116, 93 of those were issued by traffic services. So from the GD level, the frontline and level, the traffic enforcement isn't there the way it was, but we're still getting traffic enforcement all based out of traffic services. And they pretty well consistent across all areas that we're working is our traffic services is that ghost in behind the uniform that is continually doing the work. So their aspect hasn't dropped off. GD level has dropped off. So what I sort of tied it to, though, ironically, is that we didn't see an increase in collisions. So I'm trying to reconcile that in my head as to a reduction in traffic enforcement from our side didn't result in what we always think is going to happen when people are driving more crazy. That's kind of not the case. So not sure if you have any comments about the traffic side or what you've noticed in the community or whether you've noticed it or not. That's always interesting for me. Okay. Your provincial stats, you saw a drop in the RM and in St. Agathe, all tied to Mental Health Act and 911 calls. That's where the reduction kind of shows. That was the trend. Other criminal code, you saw an increase in the RM, and mostly miscellaneous is kind of all over the map, but firearms and court orders were where we got a little bit of an increase in calls there. On your violence and persons related calls, the drop in the RM was related to uttering threats and extortion. Don't see a lot of extortion, so it might have been a bit of a blip last year's quarter with a couple of files like that. This year, not so much. In St. Agathe, though, you saw an increase, all related to sex assault. I wasn't able to determine whether it came across as one instance with multiple charges or all the same person tied together, but that was where we saw the actual incident. Have you heard anything about St. Agathe in that light?
No, you're piquing my interest though on specifics of it, but we can talk afterwards.
I can't speak to the cases, but it was just more looking to see if there was talk in the community or they're kind of random. Yeah. Okay.
No. Yeah, we would have. No, to answer your question, no. We our internal groups would have. You'd hear some rumors or not, but no. Sorry, not.
Okay. Okay. And your property crime, St. Agathe went down. All mischiefs and theft. No change in Ile-des-Chênes, although the numbers were substantially higher there than in the other areas. Where what we saw was an increase in thefts under 5,000. And I'm wondering if that's tied to the, no, maybe not. I was thinking about the gas station thefts, but not in Ile-des-Chênes. So that's where we saw the biggest change was Ile-des-Chênes stayed steady, but the numbers are much higher than anywhere else. So that was kind of the highlights for me for the statistics. Any questions or comments? What you're hearing, what you're seeing that I need to know?
Anything from council? Nothing on my end.
I got just a quick one. I know with St. Mary's Bridge will be closing in the very near future, which I'm sure you're aware of, which is going to really increase the traffic at the main intersection in town here of 200 and 210. And of course, that is also a crosswalk for our north development to get to the school in town. And there's definitely a problem with rolling stops, people not stopping, and large commercial vehicles kind of just not stopping either. So if possible to have any visibility or enforcement in that area would be absolutely fantastic and greatly appreciated.
When is the bridge closing? For how long?
I believe it is, perhaps CAO Ray can help, but I believe it was October 8th or 15th, somewhere around that date, and projection is about a year for it being closed.
That's correct. About the middle of October.
Okay, good to know. And yeah, we'll pencil that in. One of the things we've been doing is random check stops as well. And we have been in the St. Adolphe area, mostly 200. So it's just another area for us that we can actually work with, knowing there's going to be increased traffic. So, okay. I'll add that to my list. Anything else?
For real, Shane, I'm guessing that those crimes against property are probably mostly the opportunistic guys looking in the cars. That's at least a weekly occurrence of people rifling through the vehicles on our multifamily areas of town.
You know what? That's probably pretty close. The fact that it's all under theft under 5,000 usually is that smaller stuff.
Yeah, I think there's been a bigger increase in reporting on that, just as residents are kind of getting tired of people doing it. So they're making it known so that you guys are aware.
Yeah, is there an area that you're hearing that's getting hit worse than others?
Any of the multifamily along in between the two highways.
Okay.
It's an easy target. You come in off 59, or it could be locals as well.
Yeah, it's all walking distance from home, right? So.
Yeah. And just want to say appreciate your comments on the CSO program. We're looking forward to rolling it out and partnering with your detachment and making that work.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I see some opportunity there. So it's good. Just on the multifamily units and stuff, is there anything happening there in regards to encouraging the public, lock your doors, don't leave valuables, sort of insight, sort of the common aspects that we try to get people to understand?
They're self-policing or ridiculing each other, basically.
Okay.
Don't
Sometimes shaming does work.
Yeah, don't leave things in your car totally visible. You know, it's a little back and forth of, well, they shouldn't be going in my car, and just don't give them a reason to, kind of thing. So
yeah,
there's a little bit of self-help available.
This must be a community Facebook back and forth. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that when we take the extreme example of Winnipeg, River Heights, for example, the community actually gave up and don't lock their doors. And I have a number of friends and family that live there, and they leave their vehicles unlocked to the point where they're tired of replacing smashed glass and so on. So they try locking them, it didn't work. Kind of the extreme example, hoping we don't go there, that we have to sort of let the criminal do what they want. But as long as they're talking about it, shaming does work at times, locking your car. So, okay, as long as there's some education going on, we'll keep it in mind, and that's where the sort of proliferation is happening. That's it for me.
If I can just add the CSO position, like, I guess we'll have to have, maybe this will be on the RM level, clarity on roles and responsibilities between him or her and the RCMP, just because, you know, we have our local, I'll call it the COP program here in St. Agathe. And as soon as there's not a minor, but what we see as a little bit more major issue, it's like, oh, let's phone in, let's call the RCMP. Maybe we'll have to say, well, hold on, no. Like in these cases, this is who you contact. In these cases, this is how. And I'm just curious in asking, because you alluded to it, is that what's an example or two of the the times where your detachment and the CSO person would work collaboratively?
So I can only speak to my experience with Hanover,
Yeah.
where Trevor Schellenberg there has been a resource. Two instances where I can recall. One was a homeless couple, sort of squatting on community land. So they call us to go and enforce it. And in talking to Trevor, Trevor took it upon himself to be a liaison with the homeless couple, try to find them better accommodations that weren't interfering with the community. So we were able to step back and not kind of be the bad guy in this, and Trevor was more the good guy in helping getting a positive resolution instead of just moving them on, right? He was able to take that time. The other one is Trevor's got authority under the Highway Traffic Act and can actually assist with, we had a serious collision actually involving one of our members on Highway 52 last winter. And Trevor, on his own, knew about it, heard about it, attended the scene and conducted traffic control for us, which was something we were short on. He was able to take a corner and kind of help that way. So there is some HTA applications. There's also provisions in the Act for mental health support, which is a big drain on us. So I had mentioned it to CAO Ray already, and that was an aspect we were maybe would like to see some support in if it falls within the parameters of what council wants their CSO to do. But it was just sort of a comment at the time that's one that would interest us, see the CSO work with us that way.
And do you guys both keep, like, you guys compare stats or share stats or that,
with the CSO? No, not at all.
yeah, no,
Not at all.
okay.
Basically, we'll have a file that requested assistance from CSO, and then we'll conclude our file knowing it's been turned over to CSO, or vice versa. They'll ask us for something for help. We'll create a file so there's a record. We'll do the job, and then that's where it stops.
Excellent. Anything else from council? No,
Good
thank
here.
you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Staff Sergeant. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Okay, you guys too. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, going back to item 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second Councillor Bondarchuk. We have the August 2025 regular council meeting minutes. Any edits, changes, questions from the CEO or council?
On your,
Good with that, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none. That is carried. Item 4, committee reports minutes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lemoine, second Councillor Pelletier. We have the Richot Library Board meeting minutes from, I believe it was Councillor Bondarchuk. Does council have any questions, or the admin have any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none. That is carried. Item 5.1. Council's page to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second Councillor Lemoine. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. CEO.
So batch number 2144, 8,159.40 for Penner Building. And that's in regards to the pole shed over at Public Works. So yeah, that's it for that one.
Thank you. Council, any comments or question? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none. That is carried. I'm at 5.2, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bondarchuk, second Councillor Lemoine. Thank you.
Batch number 2201 is tax refunds. And batch number 2202, 319,000. The major projects out of this are the city of Brandon for the 911 per capita fee, so that's 37,000. The municipal employees benefits, 34,000. Protelic for about $12,000 for the door access system and the gate over at Public Works. Receiver General, 44,000. The wastewater treatment plants, the RSR, our core Q2 cost share, 35,000. And the Laban Agency is 13,000. That's regarding the Business Expo 2026 keynote speaker, which I know the mayor will be excited to announce somewhere down the road.
Excellent. Down the road, not today. Any questions from council? Seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none. That is carried. And we've got 5.3 council indemnities. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second. Councillor Lemoine, thank you.
Fairly straightforward, nothing to really note in terms of the council indemnities for the month of August.
Perfect, thank you. Council, any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none. That is carried. 5.4 payroll to be approved. Councillor Pelletier moves it. Second. Councillor Bondarchuk.
So for this payroll, no real overtime, so that's always good to see. There is some bank time from both the rec staff and the indemnity regarding events, summer programming, and then obviously tax and utility bills came out and added some time. Staff put in extra time to try and get some of that. So
Thank you. Mr. Steele, I think I'm lagging a bit, so if I jump off here, I'll get Councillor Pelletier to take over. Comments or questions?
Nope.
I'm here.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none. That is carried. And I think that brings us to adjournment. Am I missing something? Seeing nothing. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second. Councillor Lemoine. Any comments or questions? No. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none. I will close the meeting at 8:22 a.m. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
9:22 a.m.
Sorry, 9:22. I do this every time I go somewhere. 9:22 a.m.